Java design patterns, top interview questions and answers. What are design patterns? It is a proven solution to a common software design problem. It's like a blueprint that can be customized to solve a recurring code issue. Real world example: architectural blueprints. An architect uses a standard blueprint for a staircase or a roof. A specific house is different, but the structural solution is a proven pattern. There are three categories of design pattern. First is creational, object creation; structural, class and object composition; behavioral, object communication. So, question based on creational design patterns. Explain singleton design pattern. Ensures a class has only one instance, provides a global point of access. For example, public class singleton, private static singleton instance. Private singleton. There here you can notice that the constructor is private. Public static singleton get instance is the function from which we will get our object. Difference between singleton and static classes. Singleton allows inheritance and polymorphic behavior can be easily lazily loaded and maintains state. Static classes are harder to mock and can't implement interfaces easily. Real world example: government president. A country can have only one president at a time. Singleton. A math formula like area is equal to L multiplied with is like a static class. It's a utility that doesn't need a specific person to exist. How to make a singleton thread safe in Java. Use double check locking with the volatile keyword or use the bilpo singleton implementation static inner class. Real world example: single occupancy restroom. Even if the 10 people threads arrive, the lock ensures only one person enters at a time to prevent a messy situation. Data corruption. What is the factory method pattern? It defines an interface for creating an object but lets subclasses decide which class to instantiate. It promotes loose coupling. Real world example: logistics app. If the delivery is by sea, the factory creates a ship object. If it's by land, it's created a truck. The client just asks for delivery. Explain the abstract factory pattern. It is a factory of factories. It provides an interface for creating families of related objects without specifying their concrete classes. Real world example: car dealership. A luxury factory produces luxury seats, luxury engine, luxury wheels. A budget factory produces budget version. You don't mix luxury wheels with budget engines. Factory versus abstract factory pattern. Factory method creates objects of a single family. Abstract factory of factories. What to create in factory method? How to create families in abstract factory. Complexity is simple in factory method and high in abstract factory. When should we use the builder pattern? Use it when an object has many optional parameters or when the object creation process is complex, that is creating a user object with 10 plus fields. Real world example: custom pizza, you specify the crust, then the sauce, then the topping step by step. The final pizza is only built once all steps are finished. What is the prototype pattern? It is used to create a new object by cloning an existing one. It's useful when direct object creation is expensive. Heavy database calls. Cell mitosis. A biological cell doesn't start from scratch. It clones itself to create an identical new cell. What is the prototype pattern deep copy versus shallow copy? Shallow copy, only the object is copied, nested object references stay the same. Deep copy, both the object and all the object it refers to are copied, creating a completely independent instance. Now the question based on structural design patterns. What is the adapter pattern? It allows incompatible interfaces to work together. It acts as a bridge between two independent systems, that is, converting XML data to JSON for a library. Real world example: travel power adapter. Your Indian 3-pin laptop plug doesn't fit the US 2-pin socket. The adapter adapts the interface so they can work together. Explain the decorator pattern. It allows adding new functionality to an existing object dynamically without altering its structure. Example: Java IO streams, buffered input stream wrapping file input stream. Real world example: coffee toppings. You start with the basic coffee. You decorate it with milk, then sugar, then whipped cream. Each layer adds a new cost or feature without changing the coffee itself. What is the proxy pattern? It provides a placeholder or surrogate for another object to control access to it. Lazy loading, security, or logging. Real world example: ATM card. The card is a proxy for your actual bank account. It controls access and performs security checks before letting you touch the real money object. Difference between facade and adapter pattern. Facade simplifies a complex interface, while adapter converts one interface to another. Real world example: facade. Home theater remote. Instead of turning on the TV, then the DVD player, then the speaker manually, you press one play but movie button that handles all the concept complexity. What is the flyweight pattern? It is used to reduce the memory usage by sharing such as much data as possible with the similar objects, string pool in Java. Real world example: video game forest. In a game like Minecraft, the game doesn't store full data for every single tree. It stores one tree model and reuses it at 1000 different coordinates to save the memory. Explain bridge pattern. It decouples an abstraction from implementation so that the two can vary independently. Real world example: electric switch. The switch abstraction is decoupled from the equipment it runs implementation, fan, bulb, or AC. You can change the bulb without changing the switch. Difference between the proxy and the decorator pattern. Proxy controls access to an object, that is, security, lazy loading. Decorator adds extra responsibility to an object, that is, adding a border to a window. Explain the composite design pattern. It allows you to treat individual object and compositions of object uniformly. It creates a tree-like structure. Real world example: file system. A folder can contain files, individual and other folders. Composition. Now question based on behavioral design pattern. What is the visitor design pattern? It allows you to add a new operation to existing object structure without modifying them. It visits each element and perform an action. Real world example: a, ta- a tax consultant visitor calculating taxes for different types of income elements like salary, business, and interest. Explain the memento design pattern. It is used to capture and restore the internal state of object without violating encapsulation. Real world example: the undo Control Z is a feature in text editor or checkpoint in video games. What is the chain of responsibility pattern? It passes a request along a chain of handlers. Each handler decides either to process the request or pass it to the next handler. Real world example: ATM money dispenser. 1000 note handler, 500 note handler, 100 note handler, or logging level info debug error. What is the state design pattern? It allows an object to alter its behavior when its internal state changes. The object will appear to change its classes. Real world example: a vending machine is behavior changes based on states like no money state, has money state, and sold out state. What is the interpreter design pattern? It is used to define a grammatical representation for a language and an interpreter or to interpret the grammar. Real world example: SQL parsers or mathematical expression evaluators, that is converting 5 plus 2 into a result. What is observer design pattern? It defines a one-to-many dependency when one object changes state and all its dependents are notified automatically. Event listeners. Real world example: YouTube subscriber. When a creator uploads a video, subject changes state, all subscriber observer are automatically notified. How does the strategy pattern work? It defines a family of algorithms, encapsulates each one, and makes them interchangeable at runtime. Real world example: Google Map navigation. You want to go to the airport, you can choose the driving strategy, walking strategy, or public transport strategy based on your needs. Explain the command pattern. It turns a request into a standalone object that contains all the information about the request. This allows for undo, redo, and queuing operation. Real world example: restaurant order slip. A waiter writes your request on a slip. That slip command can be queued, handed to different chefs, or even cancelled later. What is the template method pattern? It defines the skeleton of an algorithm in a method deferring some steps to subclasses. It follows the Hollywood principle: don't call us, we call you. Real world example: house construction. Every house follows a template: foundation, walls, roof. Individual owner only decide the color of the walls or the type of tiles. Difference between strategy and state pattern. The strategy is about how you do something, algorithm, while state is about what an object is. Behavior changes based on internal status. Real world example: strategy. User chooses the algorithm, that is payment via credit card or UPI. State: object changes behavior based on internal state. Order, pending, shipped, delivered. What is the iterator pattern? It provides a way to access element of a collection object sequentially without exposing its underlying representation. Real world example: TV remote channel serve. You press next to go through channels, you don't care if the channel are stored as a list or a map, you just want to the next one. What is the mediator pattern? It reduces static dependencies between objects by forcing them to communicate via central mediator object, air traffic controller. Real world example: airport control tower, pilots are different plane, don't talk to each other directly. They talk to the tower mediator to avoid crashes. Design pattern cheat sheet. Creational category creational pattern singleton, factory, builder, abstract factory, prototype. Purpose: singleton have only one instance of a class. Real world analogy: CEO of a company. Factory creates object without exposing logic. Restaurant menu. Builder step by step complex object creation. Custom pizza. Abstract factory creates families of related objects. Furniture store, modern versus Victorian set. Prototype creates new objects by cloning an existing one, photocopying a object. Structure: pattern adapter, purpose connects incompatible interfaces. Real world analogy: travel power adapter. Decorator adds feature dynamically, topping on ice cream. Proxy controls access to an object. Security guard, ATM card. Bridge decouples an abstraction from its implementation. Remote control versus different PTV brands. Composite treats individual and group objects uniformly. File system, file versus folders. Facade provides simplified interface to a complex system. Hotel reception, single point of contact. Flyweight reduces memory by sharing common object data. Text editor sharing font data for characters. Category behavioral pattern observer notifies multiple object of changes. YouTube subscriptions. Strategy switches algorithm at runtime, multiple payment modes. State behavior changes with internal state, vending machine. Chain of responsibility passes a request along a chain of handlers. ATM money dispenser. Command encapsulates a request as a standalone object. Restaurant ordership. Interpreter defines a way to evaluate language grammar. Calculator solving 1 5 plus 2 into 3. Iterator accessing elements of a collection sequentially. TV channel survey. Mediator centralizes communication between object, air traffic control tower. Momento captures and restores an object's internal state. Undo button. Template method defines the skeleton of an algorithm in a method. Recipe for tea versus coffee. Visitor adds a new operation to objects without changing them. Conclusion and tips. Don't just memorize code, understand the why. Learn solid principle alongside patterns. Commonly asked builder, prototype, and decorator. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.